Plunder Brave token for you guys today. This is actually kind of interesting in terms of innovation. And we have a 60 card pile of Prank Eldlich for you guys as well. I'll be like the 33.8% of you guys have not smashed the video crap out of that subscribe button. Smash it so we can get to 102,000. First list we have here is from Rogue Hero. Carlancho shared this with everybody, and I was like, well, I haven't looked at a Plunder list in a little while. I know that we just saw this deck top the YCS back in December remotely, and it finished pretty high up in top 16 for Douglas Haddad, but this is something that I would say a little bit more recent in terms of innovation. I mean, how much do you need your Plunder Patrol monsters on effect summons? You couldn't just set up possible Omni Negates to kind of deviate and handle some of these situations. And that's kind of what I was thinking today. I was like, well, you know, I could see how this deck can fundamentally do its job, especially like as a going second, you know, board breaker strategy. So we have 2 copies of Black Eyes Plunder Patrol Sea Guide, triple copies of the Bluebeard, 1 copy of Doggeron, 1 copy of Gamma Seal, 2 copies of Golden Hair, 1 copy of Radion, the Interdimensional Kaiju, 2 copies of Redbeard, 1 copy of the Thunder King Kaiju, 1 Griffin Rider, 2 copies of Water Enchantress, triple copies of Whitebeard, 1 Dracoback, 1 copy of Emblem, 1 copy of Faithful Adventure, 1 Foolish Barrel, triple copies of Forbidden Droplet, triple copies of Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, 2 copies of Lightning Storm for board breakers, triple copies of the Plunder Patrol Shipyard, triple copies of Rite of Armesier, free token setup, free Omni Negate, free just laugh at your opponent as they really can't do anything. Like, that's the whole game plan with this. We have 2 copies of Super Poly for board breakers, 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talents, 2 copies of Evenly Matched, so we're on what? 3, 6, 7, 8, 10 board breakers. I mean, you want to count the Kaijus as board breakers too, because you're in like 13, 14 cards at that point in this deck, just for going second options, just so you can play the game. I think that's phenomenal, honestly. Then we have 1 Patrol Booty. Then down here in the extra, we have 1 Amirage, the 1 Geonator Transverser, triple copies of Blackbeard, 1 copy of Totally Awesome, 2 copies of the Mork, 1 copy of Bahamut Shark, 2 copies of Bran, 1 copy of Dragostapelia, 2 copies of the Lice, and 1 copy of Mud Dragon. And then we have triple Lancia, triple Droll and Lockbird, triple copies of Nibiru, triple copies of Cosmic Cyclone, and triple copies of Dimensional Barrier here. Wrapping up, like I said, you're kind of taking the best aspects of going second, kind of splashing them together, and you're giving yourself a pretty interesting strategy here with Plunder Patrol. I mean, if you want to sail the 7 seas of Rogue, I think this might be a decent option, just kind of pick up and mess around with. Next up here is Prank Lich. Now, we have not seen Prank Lich in a little while. I think the last time I saw this deck was when Meow Meow was at 3. I think most of the Prank Hits players kind of just dumped the deck in a dumpster after that. Was like, I don't want to play with Eldlich anymore. Well, the whole point of this deck is we want to take advantage of the Golden Lord protection engine, basically all the little nice trap cards in our deck, to kind of give us this idea or strategy that our opponent can't really keep up with to play the game. And that's honestly what I think you get here. You get just good protection versus 1 card engines. And let's be honest here, when you have a deck like this that has so many 1 card starters in it, it gets absolutely nuts. Some of these end boards that you can produce, and your opponent's just going to have a massively hard time trying to out 95% of this. So we have 1 Celestial, 1 Dashy Boy, 2 copies of Eldlich, the Golden Lord, triple copies of Dropsies, 2 copies of Fansies, triple copies of Lampsies, 1 Little Roxy's, then we have 1 Griffon Rider, triple copies of Water Enchantress, 1 Call by the Grave, triple copies of Cursed Old Lamb, 1 Dracoback, 1 copy of Elixir of Black Awakening, 1 Faithful Adventure, 1 Foolish Barrel, and then only 2 Little Fusion Destinies. And then we have 1 Instant Fusion, 1 Prank Hits Pandemonium, 2 copies of Place, 1 copy of Pranks, triple copies of Rite of Armesier. Then we have 1 Thunder Dragon Fusion. So, yeah, you're still doing what this deck does best. I mean, he's still making some very very big, powerful monsters. Now for our defense. So not only are we one card inch in the deck, you know, the other 4 cards in our hand are just going to be as intimidating. So we have triple copies of Conquistador, triple copies of Dimensional Barrier. This, I would say, would be very, very dependent on the structure of the event. And with that being said, I don't know if you'd want to play this, but maybe it's up in the air. We have triple Dogmatica Punishment, triple copies of Scarlet Sanguine, 1 Haguero, triple copies of Ice Dragon's Prison, triple Solemn Steerike, triple Torrential Tribute, and 2 copies of Trap Trick here, wrapping up the main deck. Down here in the extra deck, we have 2 Verte Anacondas, 1 copy of Meow Meow Mew, 1 Doodle Doop Doop, 1 Bow Wow Bork, 1 Link Spider, the 1 Unicorn with the 1 Axis Machine, 1 Juggernaut with 1 Little Gustoff, and then we have 1 Weather Washer, 1 Rocket Ride, 1 Battling Butler, 1 Nintis, and the 1 Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. Side deck here, we have triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, triple Nibiru, triple copies of Twin Twister, triple copies of Solemn Judgment, and triple copies of There Can Only Be One. Wrapping up, like I said, this is a very big pile of cards that seems to work. Next up here, we actually have a Kozmo deck list for you guys. Now, keep in mind that this was actually post-list. So the only change that you have to make here is dropping 1 emergency teleport and flipping around a Fusion Destiny here, which... hello, you didn't lose anything in this scenario. Like, that's actually kind of nuts that you just... yay, we flip-flop. We did our job here, ladies and gentlemen. So, this is Kozmo with a nice little interesting touch here. So we have 1 copy of Celestial with 1 copy of Dasher. We have triple copies of Dark Destroyer, 1 Dark Eclipser, 1 copy of Kozmo Farm Girl, 1 copy of Forerunner with 1 Slippy Slip, and then we have 1 copy of Straw Friend, triple copies of the Tin Can, 1 copy of Kozmo Dark Lady. Then we have the 2 E-Telly and the triple Fusion Destiny, just flippy floppy, easy stuff. We have 2 copies of Cosmo Town, 1 Limiter Removal, triple copies of Back to the Front, 2 copies of Dogmatica Punishment, 2 copies of Ice Dragon's Prison, triple copies of Infinite Permanence, triple copies of Solemn Steerike, triple copies of Torrential Tribute, and 2 copies of Trap Trick here, wrapping up the main deck. Down here in the extra deck, we have 1 Boral Sword Dragon, 1 Verte Anaconda, 1 copy of Freejeet, 1 copy of Unicorn, 1 copy of Cerberus with 1 Phoenix, 1 copy of Link Karibo, 2 copies of Anima, 1 copy of Wind Pegasus, 1 Nova with 1 Macabre. Gotta love Dogmatica anti-cards. We have 1 copy of Crimson Nova. It's 4,500 technically for punishments. We have 1 Anintis and 1 Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. Side deck here we have triple copies of Nibiru, triple copies of Droll and Lockbird, 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone, 1 Arby's Feather Duster, 1 Twin Twister, 1 Scythe, 2 Sanctum, 1 Red Reboot, and 1 copy of Pankratops here. Wrapping up, I would say a very fun take on what you can kind of do with Kozmo. And the last list I have for you guys here is a Mystic Mine list. Yes, playing Meteor Flare. Activate this card by sending 2 cards from your hand to the graveyard, while your opponent has 3,000 or more life points. Inflict 2,000 damage to your opponent. If this card is in your graveyard, add it to your hand instead of conducting your draw phase. I mean, okay, that's interesting. I see that we're also playing Set Rotation here. This is actually kind of an interesting tech choice here. So you can actually just lock your opponent out of their field zone so that they can't do anything cheesy while you set up a Mystic Mine. Huh. I also see that we have Cyberstein shenanigans in here as well. Interesting. This deck does more than just burn. So we have triple copies of Silent Wabi, triple copies of Planet Pathfinder, 1 Cyberstein, 1 Final Countdown, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, 1 Called by the Grave with 1 card Demise. We have 1 Terraforming, 1 Set Rotation, 1 Oracle, triple copies of Mystic Mine, triple copies of Pot of Extravagance, triple copies of Pot of Duality, triple copies of Dark Ruler No More, triple copies of Demise of the Land, 1 Metaverse, triple copies of Field Barrier, triple copies of Solemn Judgment, triple copies of Dark Bribe, and 1 copy of Meteor Flare. And then we have 1 Cardian Flower Light Slash, 1 Flower Cardian Light Shower, 1 Final Ligma, 1 Steam Train King, and then we have 2 copies of Ultimate Falcon, 2 copies of Megaclops, 1 Goki Ogre, 1 Blue Eyes, 1 Exterio, triple copies of Last Warrior, and 1 copy of Link Karibo. Then we have triple evenly, 2 copies of Imperial Iron Wall, 1 Waking the Dragon, 2 Cosmic Cyclone, 2 Prohibition, 2 Cauldron, and triple copies of a Mono Awato here, wrapping up this chunk of deck profiles for you guys. So guys, what do you think about these lists? Please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later and do some more cool awesome content. Peace out, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.